You ever been in an airplane before? Or at least you know how it works? You start out stopped, and you have to build momentum and velocity in order to get up off the ground, right? And it takes a lot of speed. It takes a lot of speed to get up going. And then once you're getting enough speed, you start to fly, right? And it's like, whoa, and you can start to see, if you look out the window, things start to get smaller and smaller pretty quickly. Things happen, things change really fast when you're just getting up off the ground. And then, once you get to about 20,000 feet in the air, 25, 30,000 feet in the air, kind of stabilizes, right? You start to, ooh, and then you start to hover at that 35,000 foot level. It's kind of how semen retention is. Sometimes, and just spiritual awakening and spiritual understandings in general. And I want to welcome everybody to another Semen Retention Sunday. And the reason that I use this analogy to start off is because a lot of people have messaged me recently or emailed me about not getting the full benefits of semen retention anymore, and they don't know what's going on. And it's like, well, you might be going through that stabilization period where things aren't as they're not as powerful, as they once seemed to be. The changes aren't so drastic anymore because you're just so adaptable at that range, right? You're seeing life from a new height, and you're like, well, I thought it was going to go higher. It's like, well, there's no way out, but there's a way in, okay? And I've also had people ask me if I'm sponsoring Reese's. No, this is just the only cup of coffee mug that I like and that I enjoy. This is a coffee mug that I got from Vegas. It says Las Vegas here in the, I don't know if you guys can see that, Las Vegas there. Got this cup when I was like 12 years old when I went to Vegas, and I've always loved it ever since. It's been with me ever since. And yeah, that's that. But anyway, that's a kind of a side note here. But I'm not sponsoring Reese's or encouraging Reese's. I just like the cup because it has a little bit of a sentimental value as well as practical value. Reminds me where I've come from. And I think that's one thing about semen retention. And welcome to another Semen Retention Sunday episode here, by the way. I think one thing about semen retention for a lot of young men out there specifically is they're doing semen retention for the benefits. And don't get me wrong, the benefits are real. And it's up to you on really how deep you want to go into seeing the benefits. But I don't really like to call them benefits. I think to call them benefits is to completely miss the point. You're actually just tapping into your potential. You're actually just being who you are. you're just being who you're meant to be, instead of being the depleted coomer that looks up, ooh, gangbang threesomes and gangbang orgies and whatever. I don't know what you guys are looking. AI stuff as well. I've had people look up AI corn as well on the hub. Okay. Think about this. Your relationship to the opposite gender is how you view your relationship with your unconscious. And if you have the kind of relationship with your unconscious where with the opposite gender, where you get off on artificial things like watching AI corn, okay? If you get off on that, think about what that tells you about your own unconscious. You're getting off on something that's maybe, is it real? It's up to you to decide that, but it's real, but it's not, it's an artificial kind of real, right? It's like the corn that we have in our society now that's genetically modified. It's like, well, yeah, it's corn, but is it actually corn? Or it's like the organic Pop-Tarts. Have you guys seen those organic Pop-Tarts? My goodness. Organic Pop-Tarts. What an oxymoron that is. But you know, the benefits, they don't stop. You just don't notice them as much, and you start to vibrate on a higher level. You're operating on a higher altitude of being. And semen retention really is for the men that want to access this spiritual mystery that unravels before them, and to leave behind the superfluousness and to let go of that and to become closer to God. If I asked these people that emailed me and messaged me on Instagram and such, why are you doing semen retention? What are you doing semen retention for exactly? And you know, for the most part, they're just wanting to get better, be better as people, and that's fine and dandy. But also, I don't think semen retention is something that you just do just because you want to get the benefits. I think if you do that, it's not going to be what you think it is, and it's not going to be. It's not going to have the impact that you want it to have. The foundation and the proclivity that you'll have to move toward fleshly desires is going to be greatly increased if you're not seeing the benefits. It's less about the benefits, and it's more about just stopping this terrible relationship that you have with yourself, and developing a better relationship with you and with God as who you are. Because in these videos, in all my videos really, I'm not speaking to what your title at your job is. I'm not speaking to what you believe to be who you are and whatnot. I'm speaking to actually who you are and who you're about. I'm speaking to the depths of your soul. And some people are awakened by that and they're inspired by that. And other people are not so inspired, let's say that. They're not so inspired by it. And I think that a lot of the men that are on this path, they idolize semen retention. And they see it as like a superpower. And don't get me wrong, it is a superpower. I've had things happen to me on semen retention where it's like, I would have never had that happen if I was a depleted coomer worshiping the pink palace, right? I never would have had that. But that's the point, is like you're focused on positive things. You're not focused on idolatry. You're not focused on sex. You're not focused on lust. You're not focused on these things that are going to keep you stuck in a vibration that emanates this. It's not even an emanation. It's like you have this aura. Like, have you ever noticed this about energy vampires or narcissists? On the outside, it looks like they have this powerful aura. But once you have discernment, you start to see that their aura, it's like just sucking in energy. And that's what makes it powerful. Whereas people with true life, they push energy outward. Okay, they have energy that they give. And there are a lot of benefits on semen retention that you may not see the fullest extent of until you let go of trying to take from the world. Okay? The secret to life is learning how to help people get what they want to some degree. And people will judge you in our society based off of how many people or how wealthy you are, or how many accolades you have, or how many achievements you have. But me, myself, I look at more of my life as how many people am I genuinely impacting in their lives? Because at this point in time, I have something like 21,000 followers or subscribers on YouTube, and I am pleased to say that as an impact, as I've made a positive impact on their life in a profound way, hundreds of people. I know that for a fact because they've told me. And I'm still in communication with some of these people that I used to work with in one-on-one sessions. Because my goal in one-on-one sessions and the Godlike Master Initiation Program is not to like keep you coming back for 5 to 10 years. That's not the goal. The goal is to give you the right spiritual tools and practical tools so that you can go out and do what you need to do. And I want to give you a system to do that is personalized and tailored to you. But I'm not going to force you to do anything. And I want to see if you really have what it takes to work with me and to work with each other. Because the rule that I have is when I'm in my one-on-one sessions and Godlike Mastery, whatever I'm doing in Regal Change Academy as well, it's like, look, I'm gonna speak on spirit and truth the way that I see it, and I trust that you're gonna speak on spirit and truth the way that you see it. And together we're gonna come and we're going to understand that there's an establishment of truth and spirit in what we're doing and the essence of who we are, and we're gonna make something happen. I would much rather have that kind of mindset than anything else. And so, you know, the impact that you have on other people, I think, is more important than the wealth you attain or the status that you attain. I mean, it's more about who are you impacting in a positive way. And sure, like I've seen a lot of people with hundreds of thousands of subscribers and followers and all that on X and whatnot. But how many people are they really impacting? How many people are they actually making a positive change in their life? I would much rather have a few thousand people that I know I ride with than, you know, all of these people that just there because they want me to entertain them. Semen retention is not an entertaining thing. This is something else I think a lot of people are like, oh, I want the benefits. But I also want to be entertained while getting the benefits. It's like, well, that's a boy mindset, just to be frank. That's a boy mindset. It's not a mature mindset at all. And this is a channel that's about spiritual maturation and mastery. It's about learning how to become a master of yourself. This is much harder to do, and it's much easier said than done. But that doesn't mean that it's impossible, and it doesn't mean that, like, even just saying that, you have to be careful with your verbiage, because you have to speak it into existence, really. Whatever it is that you're aiming to do, you have to speak it into existence. You have to believe that it's already yours. Well, what does that mean exactly? It means that you have to move with faith, not by sight, like the Bible talks about. The Bible is a book. I call it the book of books in my book that I just published a couple weeks ago. I call it the book of books because in that book is the secrets that if you have the understanding of the universal language of the universe, which is truth and spirit, and gratitude, you know, I think gratitude is another secret to the language of the universe. But if you have an understanding of the secret language, and you get in there and you read the Bible, it gives you a map to individuation. Now, for those that are not familiar with individuation, it is a term coined by Carl Jung, who is a psychoanalyst and was a psychoanalyst in the 1900s, early 1900s. And he was a student of Freud's, but he broke off from Freud because he saw that Freud was very much concerned with sex, and Jung thought that it was much deeper than just sex. It was something more. There's something more to this. Sex is a powerful part, but there's something more to the psyche and to the unconscious. And he broke off from Freud in 1913, and then he went on to develop his own perceptions of reality, and he was about 40 at the time that he broke off with Freud. I mean, one of his most famous quotes is that he says, life begins at 40. Everything up until then is research. I think that's very interesting, because I'm even starting to feel that way at like 28. At like last year, because I'm 29 now, just as of last month. And last year, realizing like, holy moly, you know, I'm approaching, if I continue to keep doing what I'm doing as a man and continue to work hard and continue to build my assets and my resources and all that and my experiences and my knowledge, if I continue to work hard, I'm just about to enter my golden years as a man. And it's kind of intimidating to some degree, but at the same time, I'm very excited for it. I'm very excited and looking forward to it, because I know that I'm going to do the work, and I know that no matter what happens, I'm playing my hand that God has given unto me the best way possible. I'm not participating in the degeneracy. I'm not living on the hub. Okay, I'm not doing these things where I'm just going out and sleeping. Hookup culture is a scam. Okay, hookup culture is a scam. A lot of the things in culture that we have now are scams, but one thing in particular especially is the hookup culture. And people just don't know who they are. And they all expect to be able to pass down this and bestow upon us this amazing wisdom that is supposed to enlighten us. Meanwhile, these people are degenerate as crap. And what are we supposed to do with these idols? Well, don't idolize them, number one. And number two, start to live a life that maybe other people are like, I don't know about that. Because as soon as I start to live a life where I'm getting critiqued in a way that I think is like a little bit brash, in a way, I'm like, okay, maybe there's something more here. Maybe there's something more here. Like drinking coffee. I went like 8 months without drinking coffee. And over the past couple weeks, I've started to incorporate coffee more. People that have been watching my channel from a while know that the first time I drank coffee after those 8 months, I felt like high as a kite, man. I really did. I really did feel high as a kite. I was like, whoa. It was almost like being super aware of everything in a different way that you're not used to. Because obviously it was 8 months, and it heightens your nervous system in a very unique way. And now I'm a little bit more accustomed to it, and of course, since I'm drinking coffee, not every day, but every other day now, I'm like, okay, all right, let's see this as a tool, okay? If I want to get something done, or if I have an idea that I really want to just allow to expand itself, I'm gonna drink some coffee and let my mind expand in the way that it wants to, and let my consciousness expand. Because that's another thing about semen retention that you'll realize is what you're trying to understand is your consciousness yearns to expand in stillness. And when you retain, you have that spiritual essence contained within you that is that stillness, and now you start to attract more than you're chasing. And a lot of people just aren't used to that. So these benefits that you're seeking, it maybe it's already there. You've just yet to realize it. And with all that being said, I hope that this message was useful and insightful for you. Stay blessed out there. And enjoy the morning, enjoy the evening, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Maybe go outside today, get some nature in you. There's nothing quite like being outside, drinking a little cup of coffee. I'm not saying you have to drink coffee, but for me, recently, I've really enjoyed being outside. I'm very just grateful to be in a place where I can look right here and see the mountains. I'm I can have a great view of the mountains, the trees all around me. The birds were chirping a lot earlier, but not right now, which is okay. I'm okay with that. But just being grateful for the moment, seeing Mother Earth for what she is, and seeing the Father, the Father in heaven, just emanating and speaking life through nature. There's something magical about it, and not in the kind of way that's like a witchcraft magic. It's more of just a profound way of life. I think life needs a designer. I don't see how you can look at life seriously and think, oh, nope, it just, the Big Bang. It's like, really? Like, really? Like, this is just kind of bizarre. You know what I used to think in 6th grade, 7th grade? I used to think the universe, I was like, well, I remember learning about cells for the first time. It's like there's like cells in our body, right, in my science class. And I thought to myself, like, what if this entire universe is like a person? But we're like cells within the universe that is the person. And I remember telling my science teacher about that. I said, is that even possible? And he kind of chuckled and laughed a little bit, and then he kind of, no. And I remember, he was an ex-Christian at the time, and he was at that point an atheist. And I remember him talking quite a bit about it. And this was one of the best science teachers I ever had, by the way. Like, he was genuinely interested in science in a way that most people just aren't. And he was thinking about it, and I saw in that moment, in retrospect, I'm sure that he was thinking about Christ in that moment. Because in the Bible, it does say that we are the body of Christ. Now, it might have not been the way that I imagined it when I was in 7th grade, and the way that we're like cells in the body. There's a fly there. It may not have been the same way, but you know what? I remember having that idea and thinking, man, maybe this is it. But now I totally understand that my intuition, my pattern recognition was there. My instincts were there. I just didn't want to accept it. And because it was kind of a terrifying thought, right? Like, oh, what if I'm just another cell? Well, so what? That's cool. And you might as well maximize your potential in it then. You might as well do what good you can to the life, the body of Christ. And that's what I'm here to do, and that's what I'm here to encourage you with videos like this. So with all that being said, peace, and until next time.